Tony Mepham joins us in the studio. Good afternoon, Tony.
Good afternoon. It's a little bit cold, isn't it?
Just a bit chilly today, just a little bit chilly. I do not envy anyone that's had to be outside playing sport today. Right, we've got a few texts in to have a look at before we go to the results, if that's all right, Tony.
No problem.
No issue in this one, but just a good write-up. So this came from Malou. A well-disciplined performance from Malou at D&D today. Played into the Hurricane winds first half, were denied a goal due to the lack of VAR at Nobles Park. That's obviously something the Douglas Council needs to get looking at. Came out of the blocks flying second half. Dan McLaughlin, 2 tidy finishes. Daniel Flanagan, that is. It's good. Another belter to wrap it up. Comfortable 3-0 win. Some lovely football played at times, and 3 more valuable points. Red and Black Army. As a neutral supporter of local sport, this is coming from someone as well. I was down at St John's Astro this morning, found it very odd their game was off today, as everything looked okay. Heard it was down to waterlogged pitch, yet never seen anyone on the pitch making any effort to see if it could get a game on, considering the problem the FA have. I wonder, as listening to last night's programme, the FA should consider awarding points to the other team, as heard a referee had passed it fit. Well, a referee had passed it fit, but as far as it wasn't the ref for the match, was it?
It wasn't the referee for the match, but it's one of those that you try and pick someone close by so they can, save any inconvenience. But the worrying thing was that I spoke to a committee member of St John's and they said their pitch was fit. And I just said, well, how come you've let one person call the game off? And that's the bit I don't get. And
he didn't have an answer, did he?
He didn't have an answer. And to me, there has to be an internal inquiry at St John's Football Club. They have to do it. You cannot... I work with 4 of St John's first team players. They all wanted to play, but for some reason a person has decided that they're not going to play today. You've got to think of the Peel players as well, who were all there ready to play. Peel were ready to play tonight at 5 o'clock. I seriously feel that St John's have got to have an internal inquiry why that happened, because that is totally against ethics of football as far as I'm concerned here on the Isle of Man.
Okay, thanks, Tony. This one does directly concern you, actually, and you should be able to clear this up a bit, I think, as well. Ask Tony, can he buy some subs shirts for the first team at Corinthians, as they only had 11 today and they kept changing when making subs?
Yeah, I think there's a little genuine thing on that. The Corinthians are going to get a new kit, but the number 4 has been taken out of Corinthians for the foreseeable future, and everyone knows why that happens, because Lewis Thornton wore number 4 and none of the players want to wear it. And also we've just had a recent injury to one of the players a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, and it was cut off the player because he had a broken collarbone. So we've lost 2 shirts, but we're sorting that out. It is a problem, but there's a genuine reason. That's why the shirts weren't available.
Okay, thanks, Tony. I'm just getting one of the scores in here as well, which we can update. So it was Governors Athletic 2, Union Mills 3 in combination 2. Thank you very much for sending that through, whoever did. Daniel Thirlwell with Governors goals, I understand. Right, a question here as well. What happened at the Braddon St George's match today in the Friends Providence FA Cup quarter-final? Well, there was no match. Braddon forfeited it, didn't they, because they couldn't field a team. We were talking about this at lunchtime as well, and this was the other fixture. Let's not get too deeply into it again, but this was the other fixture that caused a bit of a headache for you earlier today, let's say.
At the end of the day, they said they couldn't field a team. There's a lot of the players. I think there's 18 in total away skiing at the moment, so they couldn't field a team. So the game's awarded to St George's. So the semi-final will take place next Saturday, and that'll be Corinthians against St George's in the FA Cup semi-final.
Okay, thanks very much, Tony. Sorry, just
no problem.
Hockey score coming in here as well, which I want to keep an eye on these things as they happen. So we've got Vikings 12, that's Vikings C12, Bacchus C1. So thanks very much for sending that through. That must have been one of the later pushbacks. What else have we got here? Vikings men's A 11, Harlequins A 0. That was 5-0 at half time to Vikings in that match. And fantastic result for the Johners today at Peel. This is in combination 4-2 Combi 1. St John's weathered the storm in the first half and battled on in the second half. Well, we'll get to that later in the programme. It was quite a turnaround in that match, I can tell you. But let's have a look at some of these results finally, Tony, as that's what we're here to do.
Yep.
GH Call at Woods Cup. This is all resolved now. We've got all 4? No, there's one match still to play, isn't there? Sorry, so we've got 3 of the 4 semi-finalists sorted now. We are going to do a draw this
We're
evening.
going to try and do the draw. The problem is at the moment the Michael Pulrose, because last time I heard it was going into extra time. With it being a 2 o'clock kickoff, it should be finished by now. So if anyone has got the result and the scorers and everything, if they can fire it through. But it's a right little battle going on there. Last time we heard it was 0-0.
Okay. Right, so the matches that have gone ahead today: Foxdale 0, Marown 4, 3-0 to Marown at half time, Tony.
Yeah, and it's a shame that just as I arrived at this game...
I was going to say, sorry, yes, of course. I mean, this was a bizarre start to the match for you today as well, and we wish Tommy Cole all the best, because this sounds like a terrible couple of injuries that he sustained.
Yeah, this sounds really nasty, because as I arrived, the game had kicked off, and I was just walking across the road, and next minute, the game was stopped. I think it was something like 12 seconds or something, 14 seconds into the start of the game. And what happened, there was a clash of players, nothing malicious at all in it, but unfortunately for Tommy, it does look as if he's broken his jaw, he's lost teeth, and to make it even worse, he landed, by the sound of it, severely broken his arm. And that was the problem, because fair play to everyone that was involved down there, that the advice from the hospital was do not touch him. So they wrapped him up and just left him there. And then the problem comes is getting the ambulance there, and then when the ambulance arrives is trying to get it as close as you can to the pitch, because the land is soft at the moment all round different pitches, and everyone did as much as they could to make Tommy comfortable. And when they got him away, I think we lost something like 35 to 40 minutes, and everyone just lost track of what was going on. But then the game restarted. It started where it had stopped, which was a throw-in, and there was Cameron Avey, who threw the football in, and he must have thrown it, I don't know, 40 yards, 45 yards with pace. And there was Ashley Higginbottom to put the ball into the back of the net.
Who can't stop scoring this season.
He can't stop scoring and give Marown the lead. Incredible start by them. And Marown played really well. Foxdale never really got going. I can understand why. The shock of seeing one of their top players in so much discomfort. And Adam Elan got the second one. Similar sort of thing with this big long ball. And then Matthew Quarry, same situation. And 3-0 it was at half time, and Marown were looking comfortable. I have to say, Foxdale got themselves together at the start of the second half, put a good bit of movement together, looked good, and I thought they were going to get another opportunity of a goal, and they hit the bar. But then a penalty was awarded towards the end of the game, and it was definitely a penalty, and Kevin Duggan was there to tuck it away. The goalkeeper saved it, but unfortunately couldn't keep it out of the back of the net. But I have to say, Foxdale's goalkeeper was in inspirational form as well. Beaumont, his name is, don't know his Christian name. And unfortunately for Foxdale, they go out. But Marown, I think Marown could win this Division 2. I really do, because their performance today and their football is brilliant. And I'm going to put a little mention in. Young Adam Meelan, I don't know what age he is now, 22, 23. I've known Adam since he's a little boy, and I've actually been to Cardiff to watch Arsenal play, because he's a massive Arsenal fan. I didn't recognise him. What a little player. What a player. So all I can say is concentrate on your football, Adam, and there's high hopes for you on the Ireland team, because he looked that good today. He's tricky. He's tricky, and with young players, I think, going to be coming into the Ireland squad shortly, because some of the players are getting a little bit older. If he works at it, I can see, and I don't know what relation he is, but he's a bit of a relation to Lee Dixon, so if Lee can guide him as well, you never know. But maybe that was a one-off, but today he played really well, I thought.
Listen to Uncle Tony's advice there. Is my advice to you, Adam. Right, we've had a score through here on the text to say it was actually Michael United 0, Pulrose 5.
Right.
It was 0-0 at half time. There wasn't extra time.
Okay.
Craig Cowan with 2, Jacob Thomas, Mark Priestnell and Barry English were the scorers.
Brilliant.
So thanks very much for sending that through. Sorry about the...
We can only go from the information that we get filtered through to us.
We can only go... We can't be everywhere all at once.
Correct.
Even though we try sometimes. Right, the other match was Union Mills 2, Castletown 3. This sounded like a tight one. It was 1-0 at half-time. The other thing notable here, Alex Crawley just missed out on yet another hat-trick. He just got the 2 today, including a penalty.
Yeah, he can't be greedy. What, they have 5 hat-tricks on the bounce. Today he only got a couple of goals. Yeah, he's getting old now. But 1 from the penalty spot and a normal goal. Mike Kenny got the other one. It was 1-1 at one stage. So Union Mills had a right good battle for it. And 3-2 shows that Union Mills are much improved. Luke Booth with 1 for Union Mills. And Colin Geraghty, who's another name that we've got to look out for. There's some really good young players coming through. And Union Mills will be disappointed. There's still maybe a possibility of getting in the Paul Henry. I don't think it's going to happen. But Castletown keep that challenge on, and they're trying to win the treble if they can.
Indeed they are. Right, Canada Life Premier League. There is league action today as well. Some good matches here by the looks of it too. Douglas Athletic 4, Colby 3.
When I heard the score, how it was going, I'm not too sure the scores, how it went. But when I heard 4-3, I thought to myself, if Colby can get one here, what a massive point that could prove to be, because, you know, games are sort of starting to run out for Colby now. That's their 20th game, so they've only got 4 left to play, and some big teams in there. Danny Lane with 1, good young player. Carl Hickey and Danny Lane got the second one. Jan Sherry, Dan Pennington got 1, Darren Shields and Martin Cowan with the other one. So good 3 points for Douglas Athletic. I think that'll be Craig Purvis's first points as well. It started well for him. He's had a couple of good attended training sessions, and Douglas Athletic will be happy with that one. And Colby just let a couple of points slip. Shame.
This was Manx Footy Blog's match, so I was following this a bit on Twitter. It was saying that Martin Cowan's goal, from what I understand, was the result of him basically diverting a very long-range Dan Pennington free kick. I think he hit it from inside his own half, from what I remember. And Dan Pennington's actual goal was a long-range free kick as well. So
he's got a sweet left peg on him, Dan Pennington.
Got that in his locker, yeah, definitely. Right, Laxey 2, Ramsey 0-0 at half-time. So Ramsey again, spirited performance seemingly from them.
Well, it is, and I'm speaking to Lewis Qualtrough this morning about this, because I've watched them now a couple of times and they're looking really good, and it was tight at half-time, 0-0. Yes, Laxey will be a little bit slow out the traps because they're not playing much football, are they? That's only their 12th game of the season, and it puts them on 19 points, so they draw level with Douglas High School Old Boys. Joe Walters, really good player, and I think Joe won man of the match in the under-18s game on Wednesday, so well done to him. And Sean Gavin as well, prolific goal scorer, got the second one. Good result for Laxey 2-0.
Top of the table clash, which has almost been a little bit overshadowed, I think, today because of the cup matches going on, but it was Rushing United 0, Corinthians 2, a goal in each half for the Whites. Yeah, it
was a huge game for Corinthians, because Russian had played 16 and Corinthians 15. Corinthians know it's going to be a heck of a challenge to sort of try and win this league, but they've got to keep winning. All the teams in front of them or sort of, should I say, around them, are there chipping away, wanting to win this league as well. And today they couldn't have asked for a better start. Dan Simpson scored the first very early on to give Corinthians a lead, 1-0 at half-time. And then Darren Kane, wow, I don't know what year Darren scored last. It's a long, long time ago. If someone can tell me, I'd love to know. But he got the second one, which made the points safe for Corinthians. From what I'm hearing, Russian were at the races today, as were with Corinthians. Played okay, never looked in trouble, and this has come from a neutral. But the important thing for them is 3 points on the board and a huge game next Saturday in the Friends Provident FA Cup semi-final, where they're at home against the Georges.
Indeed, and there's plenty more big games in the league still to come as well. Also in JCK Division 2, plenty of big matches. Just 2 taking place today, though. Douglas and District 0, Maloo 3, and Onken 1, Ayr United 0.
Yeah, Joe Rees got the goal for Onken, and good result for Onken. Another 3 points, which keeps them in touch. And when you look at the league table, the move above Pulrose now, because they're on 38 points, and they actually move above Marown as well, so they're back into second place. And as you touched on before, Maloo won 3-0, couple of goals by Dan McLaughlin and Darren Flanagan with the other one.
Let's just go through and mention these other scores as well. Canada Life, Combination 1, Colby 1, Douglas Athletic 9, Finlay O'Neill scoring for Colby. We don't have Douglas Athletics scorers. Rushing United, good... It's all right, Meps, can't be helped. Rushing United 6-0 winners away against Corinthians. Andrew Moody with a couple, Tommy Doherty with 2, Jamie Johnson 2. So good performance and good result for Russian at the top of Combi 1 there.
Yeah, it's a big win for them because I think it's between Russian and Douglas High School Old Boys. Well, it is.
And Old Boys lost today as well, 3-1 to Geordies.
Yeah, I was surprised. And, Old Boys had a reasonable team out today. And you could see when you look at those players there, Andrew Moody with 2, he's a quality player in front of goal. Tom Doherty is really, really good as well. And Jamie Johnson's just coming back from injury and playing against his old club. So he'll be happy with that one. Great result for Russian. And Corinthians, unfortunately, just not quite strong enough today for them, and disappointment for them losing out on them points against Russian.
Indeed, you're right. Apologies, we've just had a clarification for one of the results here. The score was actually Laxey 2, Ramsey 1.
Right, okay.
A last-minute penalty for Laxey. Ramsey went 1-0 ahead, so thanks very much for the clarification there. Peel 2, St John's 4 in Combi 1. This was quite a turnaround. Peel were 2-0 up at one stage, thanks to Aaron Costain and Johnny Kane. It was 2-1 to Peel at half-time. St John's run out 4-2 winners.
Yeah, they've crept up nicely in this league, St John's, because when you look at Peel are 4th, St John's are 5th, and Matty Kane's done a really good job there. And today, the way it went, Peel were, I think, 2-1 up at half-time. Aaron Costain with 1, Johnny Kane with the other one. But a good young player who transferred this year from Laxey to St John's, Kieran Brock, he got 2, 1 was a penalty. Nick Ford got a goal, and Jordan Robber got a goal as well. So St John's will be delighted with those 3 points and a good result against one of the top teams.
Indeed. Ramsey 1, Laxey 12. The Miners pretty much always in control by the looks of it. They were 7-1 up at half-time in this game.
Yeah, they were, and George Burrows was the star. He got a hat-trick. Tom Murray with 3, Fraser Vaughan. Nice to see Fraser back. Last time I saw Fraser, he was in the hyperbaric chamber with an awful injury to his arm, so good to see him back. Joe Murley got 1, Dewan Moore, Dave Reynolds, and Jabran Matik got the other one. So, Johnny Palmer has got things right today. He's done well, but for Ramsey, first team player just coming back from injury, Lewis Qualtrough got their goal.
And as we mentioned, St George's 3, Old Boys 1, JCK Combi 2. The results we have: Castletown 0, Douglas and District 3, no scorers. Foxdale 0, Ramsey Youth Centre 9. Anthony Bale with 4 here. Tony Corlett with 2. Matthew Boyd, Andrew Feeney and Martin Murphy. Daniel Thirlwell picked up a couple of goals for Governors Athletic against Union Mills, but it wasn't enough. That one finished 3-2 to Mills. Tony, we'll do a draw for the Woods Cup a little later in the programme, shall we?
Fine.
Yep. Okay. And if you can return the favour now for Tony,
absolutely.
We'll go the other way.
My fee is a little bit more than Sam's.
Well, that's something you're going to have to negotiate between yourselves or get your agents to do something. Beer. Right, GH Cull at Woods Cup semi-final in the pot are Castletown, Douglas and District, Marown and Paul Rose. Gentlemen, if you can do the honours, please.
First one out of the hat is number 2.
That's D&D, Douglas and District.
Next one out, number 4.
That is Paul Rose.
Next one out is number 3.
That's Marown.
And last one out, number 1.
That is Castletown. So there we go. A couple of plum ties there. And Tony, the semi-finals are due to be played
This coming Saturday, and I
so
think
a week today.
Just looking at that first one that Sam drew out, D&D against Paul Rose. I think Paul Guyver's doing a bit of a river dance in his lounge at the moment because no disrespect to D&D, but Paul Rose should be able to nick that one. But I keep saying it, D&D are quite capable of beating top sides. And Moran against Castletown, I feel these two sides are going to get promoted. I've watched the 3 sides, Paul Rose, Castletown and Moran, all over the last 3 or 4 weeks. I'll tell you what, some of the football Moran played today is really good stuff. And Castletown, what a game. It's a shame really because we've got the 2 FA Cup games next week, semi-finals, and we've got the 2 Woods Cup semi-finals. So 4 great games and the league games as well. It's just a shame really somewhere. I think that Moran and Castletown could stand on its own. I don't know what we can do with it.
Indeed. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Thanks very much, Tony.